Hello, and thank you for joining today's Family Office Network's webinar series. The Magnus Diagnostics Laboratories team will be presenting for us today, and I would like to give a high-level overview on our speakers. First, Sheldon Job, member of Board of Directors. Sheldon is a 30-year business consultant veteran. He has decades of experience in scaling and optimizing operations for business entities across a wide spectrum of industries. Compelling his experience in biochemistry with his analytical skills in business, Sheldon continually brought a focused and expansive view to enhancing corporate execution. Gurney McNair III, co-founder. Gurney is a project management specialist, bringing his experience in government contracting support and purchasing. He provides direct engagement in operational execution in the day-to-day process of Magnus across all functions. And lastly, Christopher McNair, co-founder. Chris brings his extensive background and knowledge of scaling startups internationally beyond their initial stages to growth potential of Magnus using proven novel methods. At the end of today's presentation, we scheduled time for Q&A. Please use your questions chat option on the right side of your screen to send over any questions you have so the team can answer them accordingly. With that said, gentlemen, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Miss?
Which one of you guys is speaking first? Chris, are you speaking first?
Yes, that's Gurney.
No.
All right.
The future of accuracy and precision in healthcare diagnostics is what Magnus Diagnostics Laboratories is all about. We want to be able to combine what we know today and couple that with what we know patients and clinics and healthcare providers are going to need tomorrow. And the reason why this is critical is because accurate precision, it makes all the difference when you're looking for better outcomes and decreasing disparities within the healthcare arena. We go to the next slide. Our mission statement encompasses our view. And that view stands solely as in response, as I was stating, with the precision and accuracy being merged to serve both the well-served and underserved communities alike. We have found that when you're looking to reach out and find different markets, there's a whole subset of markets that are underserved, and these underserved communities have all kinds of opportunities that can be engaged in with the healthcare diagnostics that we are presenting. Excellence in that testing arena isn't solely confined to those who are underserved. It also means that we can provide that same kind of level of service to existing well-served communities, giving them the opportunity to work with a nimble, agile, flexible, and responsive laboratory, the likes of which they have not had the experience to date. Incorporating these things at the outset of our journey in terms of incorporating that into the structure of what we do allows us to deliver a superior client service and a superior client experience, which allows us to retain our clients and generate loyalty to the brand, which allows us to further endear ourselves to the communities that we serve and are seeking to serve.
Our laboratory market at a glance is extremely encouraging and extremely broad. The market over the next 5 years within the federal and private sector amasses more than 521 million as far as for the medical testing arena in our dedicated max code. In addition to that, also looking at the direct market over the next 12 months, which eclipses $300 million as well, which we have access to. We're extremely excited to help be part of the COVID relief support efforts, collectively partnering with private and federal institutions in addition to helping have a direct to consumer effect as well, and looking to get involved with federal companies, agencies, with stem cell research, workforce development of the future opportunities as well, while also being able to reinvest back into our communities. Next slide. The revenue market in the medical testing arena is extremely encouraging, extremely lucrative, with high returns on margins. For us, at the low end, you'll see 88% margins as far as for our standard panel reimbursement rate. That is trumped when we expand our test menu with the capability that we have in-house, and it can range between 88 up into 200% margins as well. That is across all test panels, both COVID testing and non-COVID testing related. In addition to engaging in the federal sector, the net 5 return rate for electronic reimbursement rates for awards on contracts is done in 5 days. This will help for us to scale rather rapidly, in addition to making our cash flows easy to manage and being able to also partner as sub and primes on contracts. In addition to that, our in-house billing system that we have built out with the growth engines in place allow us to bill all insurances and have recurring billing done on a net 14 base. So every 2 weeks on a bi-weekly basis, we'll have recurring billing coming in on a daily basis once we go live. Next slide. As mentioned before, with the market eclipsing upwards of $350 billion, which we have access to, our target market share is only a small fraction of that, of being less than 1%. But because of the large market, that creates a great return on investment for us and all those interested as well. The return that we are seeking is upwards of 450% on capital over 3 years, with an early exit as the goal. And also, we look to raise non-dilutive funding in around $3 million. We also have standing letters of intent, which we look to generate between 10 to 15 million within the next 12 months of business. This is extremely exciting for us because we can improve public health outcomes in addition to having an extremely great, substantial social impact and create hundreds of STEM-filled jobs from now and in the foreseeable future. Next slide.
Okay, as Chris was saying, there's a tremendous market out there. So how do we capture it? By focusing on both private and federal, we're able to leverage our existing letters of intent from private physicians, hospitals, etc., to grow our market share within the private / commercial space. But in addition to that, we're going to target the federal market as well. Being in Bethesda, close to the seat of the federal government, as well as literally down the street from the National Institutes of Health, the National Cancer Institute, National Institute of Standards and Technology, and other federal institutions, the courts as well, we'll be able to compete for contracts to provide them with quarterly testing for drugs of abuse and stuff like that, but also to participate in clinical trials at NIH, at National Cancer Institute, thereby allowing us to leverage both the extensive commercial market here in the DC metropolitan area, but also the extensive federal market, thereby enable us to scale fairly quickly once we have the backing we need to set up the level of services we know we can provide given the partners we have engaged to date. So again, just to summarize, by being able to execute across both the federal and private markets, we will be able to generate substantial revenues in the short term to allow for a short-term exit for any investor interested in partnering with us. Bernie?
Now, as Sheldon was saying, because of our proximity to the seat of the federal government, that has allowed us to actually start initiatives by developing relationships with key agencies, Health and Human Services, Veteran Affairs, and as stated before, the National Institutes of Health. One of the things that we like to point out is that DoD research into breast cancer research, Procure for Cancer, is one of the major components that entices us to join this federal marketplace, because in order to actually enact that breast cancer research, you have to go through the DoD to get that larger pool of revenue that's accessible. People might think that it's in the National Institutes of Health, but the DoD is the reigning king in terms of all the funding that gets diverted to those resources and that research. And being here located in Bethesda, so close to the NIH, allows us also to join all of their small business initiatives, which we can then use to scale out. We have already developed relationships with local universities and professors for initiatives that not only occur here within the United States, but are also transcontinental. These relationships will allow us to scale both in the private side and in the federal marketplace by adapting all of the different systems and the different leveraging technologies that we bring to bear and incorporating that into the service delivery. The clinics that we started off were in the drugs of abuse arena. However, expanding out to incorporate the full suite of research and development and community health in schools are paramount now that the entire world has gone through this pandemic. But post-pandemic, we're poised to actually deliver on what to do next now that the future of interactivity has been tasted by the entire market at large, primarily dealing with direct to consumer. People are now becoming accustomed to ordering, and the next thing that's going to be on that wave is the ability to order tests from your home sent to the laboratory in large scale fashion. And our systems will allow us to deliver both for federal agencies and for large time universities, research institutes, so that that clinical trial and clinical data can be delivered and collected in secure fashion and tested with the utmost precision and accuracy.
As Gunnar was just mentioning some of the issues that the market's currently seeing, and we're summarized here just a few of the larger problems: backlogs in workflow, slow turnaround times, inaccuracies in data coming out of diagnostic labs that are currently serving the market, and of course, the lack of access to truly high quality testing. Our solutions will allow us to solve these problems through use of blockchain reporting, but also the partnerships with groups like Siemens provides us with analyzers that facilitate high throughput testing. Therefore, we can address the backlog that currently exists in terms of COVID, as well as other diagnostic testing that currently exists. One of our advantages, because of our focus on customer service, is also the ability to turn around samples within 24 hours. I'm sure we've all heard recently where it was initially 3 to 4 days for test turnaround. Now it's out as much as a week. In the middle of a pandemic, that is undesirable, not to mention unacceptable. With our workflow processes, as well as the use of technology, we will be able to, I don't like to say guarantee, but provide turnarounds within 24 hours at a maximum of 48 hours on critical diagnostics.
And to expand on what Gurney and Sheldon just shared as well, all of our trusted partnerships and working relationships that we've established help us to bring that all together so we can execute at the high level. And it starts with Lighthouse as well. They're one of our trusted partners as a niche specialist recruiter for helping to scale individual laboratories, independent laboratories, and other federal opportunities as well, all collectively under one house. So they will help us to essentially overnight help to scale with dedicated personnel as we see fit, as needed. And in addition to that, Integrum Scientific will help us to establish our mobile COVID initiative as well. And it's not only COVID related, in addition to non-COVID opportunities, we can have a dedicated mobile workforce as well, deployed in addition to our core laboratory service. Following Integrum, we have Databricks. Databricks is helping us to mirror the model that's established with Moderna, as they dedicated a lot of resources to develop the vaccine in a world record time. That same growth engine is helping us to apply those same use cases in the clinical arena. That will help us to be at the forefront of research and development, in addition to helping to establish vaccines and other initiatives as well. Partnering with Sheldon Joe with Joe Consulting Services, we will be able to partner with him in our capture management initiatives as well to make sure we're extremely efficient in the federal space, in addition to applying those same metrics in the private space as well, in addition to our internal functions and matters within Magnus. One of our highly trusted partners as an industry titan is Roche Diagnostics, in addition to others to follow. They're helping us to essentially also be at the forefront of the molecular testing arena for COVID, in addition to other infectious diseases as well. Usually their systems are found in hospitals. So for us, it's an exciting milestone to be able to have that same service provided to the patient in an independent clinical laboratory. Separate from Roche, we marry that system and others to Opentrons. Opentrons is the forefront innovator in the market with an open system that allows you to marry all OEMs together for automation and liquid handling. That is essentially a force multiplier being able to ramp up samples from hundreds to thousands to hundreds of thousands within a day's time using their systems. Teneo will help us scale internationally as well, in addition to the domestic stateside market, making sure everything we do is vetted on the international level with risk mitigation, with a high level cyber team dedicated for cyber espionage, as well as we're all aware of the cyber hacks that are going on as well, and they will not stop. So Teneo is a great partner for that in addition. Legal Lab is our laboratory information system. They help integrate all of the systems that we have within Magnus and the core laboratory and help us to establish the sustainable model to be able to scale with volume from hundreds to thousands of samples, in addition to marrying that with Opentrons for the automation of robotics in the core laboratory. The brains of the laboratory is helping us to report out within that time frame that Sheldon mentioned, within 24 hours or less. We will not have that backlog that is being brought to the masses in the headlines of the news, because that same growth engine, we established a lot of resources and partnerships to make sure we can do that from here on out as well. Zoom Info is a great industry titan for market research and market insights, and to nurture direct leads to new contacts as well. Family Office Networks. Of course, we're excited to be a client of theirs and partnering with them as we're looking to scale and have new strategic opportunities and alliances built through their network as well. Beckman Coulter, using the Danaher Business System model as the parent company, will help us to expand out into other disciplines, not just microbiology, immunology, and the others that we already serve, but in addition to expanding out into others. So that way we are not just a one OEM focused laboratory, we've married many together to be able to deliver the product. TCI Supercoder is one of the leaders as far as for making sure we have the best cost analysis in place for billing and making sure that we have a fair price model for all patients, so we can tailor make our offerings to the private and federal sector, so that way it's a benefit for both, so everyone wins. And it's all about the patient care. Immunodiagnostic Systems is IDS. Their CEO helped to support us and advocate for us having their system, which supports another methodology to be able to offer a widespread panel for a dedicated niche, amongst others, renin, aldosterone, vitamin D as well, and others at a high level of specificity that trumps others that we have that are not offered by the other OEMs. Forbes has reached out to us to make sure that our marketing campaign will have a great outreach on the international scale, providing podcasts, TV bits as well, in addition to a mass press release, in addition to potential published book for the venture as well. Chubb Insurance, industry leader for insurance as well, has backed all of our systems and all of our policies in place as well. SentinelOne is a market leader as well for high end-to-end encryption of all of our data and processes. In addition to having Legal Lab manage all of our laboratory information, the patient data will be secured with the SentinelOne platform. We've also reached out with Live Oak Bank and established a partnership there as well to help have a direct market relationship with the federal space, because they have been a leader in federal contracting awards and funding as well within the space as well. Portsea is the one smart key turn solution for inventory management. They will help us to not just have our supplies delivered in a feasible time frame. The supply chain is very robust, and we have made sure that we've had a great account with them so that we can scale without having the backlog built in our supply chain for inventory management and protocols. We've also added Alphabet as a trusted partner as well, in addition to Job and Live Oak Bank. Alphabet as well has federal pipeline relationships like the likes of Leidos Labs and other federal Sentinel labs as well, as we look to scale with our pipeline. Agilent Technologies is a great industry titan as well in the liquid chromatography mass spectrometry sector. They help us to quantify and do our confirmation testing in-house as well, in addition to being at the forefront for expanding our services across personalized and veterinary medicine. CSG is the global talent recruiter partner of ours that help us get world talent in-house with Magnus as we scale as well. Deltec, well known for their market insight platform with GovWin and other platforms for full house accounting and other CRMs. They're exciting to do business with us as we scale, as we use their platform and marry with others all under one solution. We've also partnered with local advocacy partners as well, so with the Chamber of Commerce, with the Greater Hispanic Washington District as well, as we look to make sure that we service both well-served and underserved communities alike across multiple ethnicity backgrounds. Siemens as well, Siemens Healthineers, especially their healthcare division, has partnered with us to help scale for their serological assay for the antibody test for COVID, in addition to the non-COVID assays as well that they will help us to scale into, being at the forefront of the identification of the new strands that we are aware of and those to follow, so that way we make sure we have the best solution in-house offered to the patient. Following them, we have Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce, our local chapter. They've helped to have us establish with local political affiliates, in addition to other partnerships in the area and the region, in addition to actually working with the United States Department of Commerce as well to establish advocacy programs and marketing events as well, once COVID has passed. But in addition, we will just facilitate that through Zoom in the meantime. We've also established a partnership with Harvard. Harvard's Business Analytics program has a 3-show program, the first of its kind, leveraging the Harvard Business School, the School of Applied Sciences, and Arts and Sciences as well, all under one program. And we've incorporated that into our workflows and all of our targets moving forward to make sure we're using the best systems from world-class vetted professionals. And the last two as well are the United States Department of Commerce, as I mentioned before, and Morgan State University. That is key for us because we want to reach out to other institutions to follow to establish sustainable workforce development of the future opportunities, to be able to cross-train and be in multiple disciplinary solution to scale the workforce development of the future, both locally and globally. Next slide.
In addition to our unique partnerships across industry, we have established in addition to the owners, relationships with key players in the, let's call it the clinical space. Dr. Mordecai McCarthy is actually one of my heroes in industry. As a young chemist, when I first got out of college, his work in terms of with the FDA, helping to permit and license and regulate laboratories like Abbott Labs was quite actually inspiring. He holds multiple degrees, PhDs, is actually both a lawyer and a doctor, and is currently engaged worldwide in helping to, with clinical trials, develop new therapeutics. One of his key components of research right now is focused on dementia and neurological disease solutions. Dr. McCarthy is a giant in this field, to put it mildly. And working with him, he continues to remind us to push the envelope in terms of what kind of support we can provide, not just to the traditional diagnostic lab client base, but also looking at the evolution and the future of medicine and therapeutics across a broad spectrum. And of course, myself, my background as a business consultant, what I bring to the table is essentially an ability to focus on not just the individual tree in the forest, but the entire forest as well, and do so in an efficient and effective manner, really leveraging all of the tools of the trade, things like Chris was just mentioning our partnerships with Deltec and GovWin and ZoomInfo, and really being able to thread the needle of finding the key federal partners and relationships to optimize our ability to grow the business in both the federal and commercial space. So in addition to Dr. McCarthy and myself on the board of directors, we also have the additional leadership, which I'm going to speak to now.
The leadership of Magnus consists of, as Chantal was saying, Christopher, myself, and Christine here. It's family founded and operated, and upper management to date has been Dr. Yusufi and Dr. Clark. And we're very proud to have all of their contributions. Christopher and I were brought up in the laboratory world by Christine, who is an ASCP certified laboratory scientist. And that is the highest proficiency that you can achieve within laboratory sciences. and that has been our exposure. So we understand the importance of patient safety, quality control, quality assurance, and always looking for the next level of medicine to be delivered and how that actually affects patients on a daily basis. And that has been our core driving mission in terms of the vision of delivering. And that is what we aim to do. And with your help and your partnership, we can actually scale this to the next level.
And expanding on our milestones to date, we were able to successfully obtain our high complexity CLIA license, passing 2 federal inspections in addition to the state medical license as well with Maryland. In addition to that, our proficiency testing was 100% rating at the small scale, and we look forward to making sure that we sustain that rating moving forward as we scale. What we have in the pipeline for our next projects and initiatives are to reload the core lab to a new state-of-the-art facility, which is upwards of 4,000 square feet. That way we can accommodate all of the new systems that we have in the pipeline to service all of our high throughput testing across all panels. In addition to that, as mentioned before, we'd like to deploy our mobile core testing laboratory as well, in addition to that COVID testing initiative as well, and also the non-COVID related testing as well. So we will have both the core lab and the mobile lab deployed. In addition to that, we will also have the marketing campaign done, spearheaded by Forbes and other digital marketing campaigns, as well as Google and others. Our SAMHSA certification and CAP accreditation are also to follow as well. That way we can have another set aside dedicated in the federal space as well, and have another niche market available to us within our market. Execution and the sustainable workforce development of the future, partnering with Morgan State as well, and other institutions locally and across the United States is also in the works. And our other goal is to have the Sentinel Lab designation as well for bioterrorism initiatives as well, once we have everything else in place.
And with that, we'd like to open it up to your questions.
Thanks, gentlemen. And yes, to our attendees, again, pulling into Q&A time. If you do have any questions, please go ahead and submit those using your questions chat option on the right side of your screen, and we'll go ahead and answer them accordingly. Gentlemen, if there's anything else that you would like to add while we kind of just see if any questions come through, we'll wait a few seconds here.
Well, we'd like to point out that Magnus is sitting on the precipice of the new age, and we are incorporating all of these initiatives and all of these technologies right now at the forefront. And after having built up a solid foundation of mastering our processes at the small scale, scaling it to the next level and still retaining that ability to deliver huge, impactful results to a larger scale requires the kind of investment that we're seeking here. This will allow us to have this investment be a force multiplier with what we do and the impact that we can make, while at the same time increasing the social impact that the organization delivers. It will redound to the investors at an exponential rate. What we're looking to do is we're looking to be able to incorporate these as we scale, because it allows us to remain nimble, incorporating all of these state-of-the-art leading edge capabilities. Unlike our competitors in the spaces, they're like huge aircraft carriers trying to turn around. Whereas us, we can grow and still be nimble, accessible, and responsive, and hyper responsive due to our proximity to the seats of government and to the power players within the federal space. And we want to be able to reiterate that, because that is a huge part of our growth campaign, and that is a major factor with what the government is doing now here within the United States in terms of the investment in the research and development sectors, and also the testing and laboratory facilities that are going to be coming online. We will be able to ride that wave with you all hand in hand so that we can get to the next level.
Great, thanks so much, gentlemen. There doesn't seem to be any questions at this time. With that said, I would make sure and encourage everyone, I will be following up with all of you individually. So if there's any questions that you would like to have after today's webinar, I'll be sure to get you in direct contact with the team here. So with that said, we thank you all very much for joining us today, and we hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah.